Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is explore. We're just gonna be staying in cat-cow today, okay? Cat-cow, first checkpoint for cat-cow, right? We're not doing this. We're actually doing tabletop. We're not gonna call it cat-cow, we're gonna call it tabletop. So what's happening is the first check, knees under the hips in a natural fashion, arms under the shoulders in a natural fashion, abdomen pulled in a natural fashion. And when I say abdominal pulled in, if you don't also feel a pulling in from your groin, you're not doing it properly. So we always want to check that we're not just like hardening our stomachs, our abdominal muscles, but that we're actually pulling in. The belly button is going back towards the spine, but that doesn't create an arch in the spine. The lumbar stays supported. There's this balance between the lumbar and the thoracic. They have a very beautiful relationship of sharing the load. So, okay, I'm gonna try not to look at the camera so I don't tweak out my neck. So I'm really pulling in here. There's total relaxed strength. I can feel through the fat the strength of these pelvic floor bands. If you put your fingers on them, they're hard like a rock. Okay, the whole stomach is. Don't be fooled by the flabbiness over it. Okay, so I am in tabletop, and you know what? If I do directly under my shoulders, what happens? Do you see how my thoracic spine raises? Watch. This is where I was comfortable. Do you see that nice balance between my thoracic? Now watch this. What just happened? So when we watch a gorilla, let's say, they're very much like this. They have a higher portion, their arm length is higher, and they very much stand like this. And what happens is you pull in even more here, and you become even more taut in your hip flexors and your gluteus. So there's really a strong balance of the whole body as it supports this posture, okay? And I'm just doing my monkey thing. And this, I feel, is, one way to look at what we're going for. But what we want to do is recognize that we're human and we're not monkeys. And there's something to be said for slowly building strength and not going for the full Monty right away. So if I put my hands flat, which is actually how we want to practice, and I really project a lot of pressure into my fingers, into my hands, the first thing I want to focus on is what happens to my arms, specifically from my elbows. We have two choices. One is we find ourselves locking like this. The elbow eyes, these joints, are facing totally forward, right? So a lot of times we do this, with these elbow joints forward. We're locking our elbows. This is laziness. I did this so long. This is because we lack support in our muscles. So if I penetrate my hands into the floor, what naturally happens is my elbows actually face each other and they kind of come out a little bit. Now, in yoga, a lot of poses have asked us keep your elbows close to your body. Correct. But what's happened is because we have these yoga mats, this shape, that has become interpreted into this, which is this extremely narrow, concave thing. And what you notice is that your finger and thumb will start to pooch up from the mat, from the floor, and a lot of referral strength is only coming from here and here. And what's happening is your neck is taking a tremendous amount of load. And so just for a minute, just, get in your tabletop position. Try your best to really get those hands under the shoulders. But, you know, if this is more what you can do, you do that too. It's really okay. It puts more strain on the neck. And I want you to just focus on projecting your hand into the mat and play with your elbows going out and in. Very, very slowly. And I want you to try to rotate as much as you can and slightly micro bending those elbows, and then really all the way to that locked position. And I'm really micro bending. And I want you to start feeling the joint around your elbow, your wrist, and your hands. Because the pain is very much associated with this. Now, elbows are only designed to go out and in. And what the wrist has to do in order to accommodate our elbows moving is that it has to rotate. So you're going to find different places of pain in your wrist or discomfort. And I just want you to notice it. I just want you to pay attention. There's no right or wrong for your body. You have to understand what's happening. Now, a lot happens like this in the world of sculpt fitness, these outward elbows. And what I understood, what I learned in classical Hatha Yoga very young, was that elbows into the body meant more like a 45-degree angle, like an arrow. And this was more what that meant. It meant don't do this, don't splay. It meant keep your elbows, in this arrow. And now what I'd like you to do is to play with that. I'd like you to play with splay and push yourself up and then project a 45-degree angle, push yourself up, and then play your modern yoga and push yourself up. And when you push yourself up, I want you to push from the full palm. The focus is, the check is always make sure the full hand is pushing from the ground. And this is going to help us check and make sure that we're doing it. So here we go. And again, we're just exploring. We're learning about the mechanics of our body. So here we go. We're splaying and coming back up. We are arrow and coming back up. And we're modern elbow. Go ahead and do this. And just pay attention. Just watch. Don't lose connection to your pelvic floor muscles, your abdomen. Watch which position is hardest on your neck. Watch which position is hardest on your hands and wrists. Watch which position hurts your elbows. Okay. So, you might feel stronger doing the modern yoga because that's what you've been taught in the class, but if you can be subtle enough, you can start noticing where it's referring in your neck. So we're going to do the exercise again, but we're going to do it now according to our awareness of how the shoulders are designed to function. And the shoulders are really, really designed to, can you see it? Okay. The shoulders are designed to come back and out, full round circles. So we have these three mobility joints, the ankles, the hips, and we have the shoulders. They're a mobility joint. It's the shoulders that were designed to determine our direction. Okay? So from the shoulders, we want to direct direction of the elbow and the wrist from the shoulder and this thoracic. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a few get to know your shoulder exercises. Very simple, very silly. You're just going to connect again, pull in, and you're just going to sink and push, sink and push, sink and push. I want you to sink and push. Sink with your elbows up to your ears. Imagine just the top of the shoulders. Okay, just get to know it. Sink. I want you to start noticing your elbow as you sink. Stay in a synced position. From sunken, try to create a full rotation and start to discover the relationship, natural relationship of how your arms are providing this strength. And watch which direction your elbows go in. Really be honest that if your hands are firmly on the mat, which direction are they going? Okay, so my hands are firmly on the floor. I am sinking, lifting, sinking, lifting. Shoulders to the ears. Sinking, and now I am from the shoulder. My attention is in my shoulder joint. What's the direction my elbows are naturally playing? Now, with intention, make the modern yoga outer rotation. Sink the shoulders, modern yoga. Keep the elbows very, very tight and close to the body. Now splay, sink the shoulders. It's very hard. So I hope you learned something about your relationship with your shoulders and which connective muscles are working in your neck and your elbows and your wrists. I suggest everybody, you do this frequently. This is like a warm-up. Anytime you want to start working more in your upper body, building strength, this is very critical because there's actually no right or wrong way. The point is that we have intelligent awareness about how the movements of the body occur, which position benefits us most for which action, which movement, which static pose. And most of the reasons we get injuries here is because we're not intelligently moving with our body's capacity or design. And so we're forcing a particular movement on the body which is not natural to it, and so it compensates and it's not strong enough to compensate. So, you know, some of us are already injured beyond, you know, wanting to do certain poses. But we can regain strength slowly by doing the things our body can do naturally and effortlessly and build strength in those ways. And pretty soon our bodies will heal and adapt and be able to do all kinds of different acrobatics again if we go really slowly. So what I do want to mention is that the balanced relationship of the shoulders, if you really pull your shoulders back, I want you to notice what happened to my neck and chin. Just pulling the shoulders back. Okay, from the side. Doesn't look so comfortable. It's actually not really comfortable. Now I'm going to pull my shoulders back from my sternum. So I'm lifting my sternum as I pull the shoulders back. You see the neck is so much softer. All the support that's coming from the sternum, from the lifting, is supporting my neck. My neck doesn't have to work so hard. Okay, I'm going to do it from the front. Okay, shoulders, sternum. You know, the neck still elongates, but it's a totally different energy. Okay, so this is very, very important. So when people say, roll your shoulders back and up, you know, this is an exercise, but if we want to have a natural flow, we want to remember that so behind, so to front, right? So above, so below. This balancing act of the body as it moves, it wasn't designed to work in isolation. It was designed like a series of doors, locks, and keys, one which opens, supports, balances the next. So we need to maintain a healthy relationship with the connections our body makes naturally. So when it comes to shoulders, I suggest your exercise be for strengthening your shoulders and healing pain in your elbows and wrists. Exactly what we just did, but with more intention and focus. So I'm gonna go next into the exercises, okay? That was just technique.